I want to move now to the United States, where, as we promised, tonight we've got a very special guest joining us. Over the past few years, the United States has experienced a tectonic shift in culture. Norms we once thought were unchallengeable are now taboo. Now, as a country that once took pride in being that beacon of freedom and democracy around the world, the United States now seems intent on tearing itself apart on issues of culture, race, gender, religion, even its once strong support for the role of family in our society. Now, sadly, you know, much of that malaise is here in Australia too. With the US midterms on November 8, these issues are front and centre again, and someone in the thick of things taking on that debate is my next guest. You know him well here. He's a juggernaut of US politics and news, and I'm delighted he's with us tonight. Fox News primetime host Tucker Carlson, welcome to Credlin and Sky News Australia.
Well, thanks for having me.
Hey, I just mentioned now, many of the cultural issues that are front and centre of the US are here as well. We're lagging perhaps a couple of years behind you in terms of the intensity of some of the debate, but there's no doubt if we look across the Pacific, we can see where this is headed. All the things the West once knew that were settled, went through that list, they're all upended now. Now, we're at war with ourselves, I would contend, Tucker. It's that simple. So I want your take. How do we get here, and what's the battle plan for good people to fight back?
It's really simple. I mean, we've had debates in our societies which are not so different and have the same common root in the UK, very similar systems. And we've had debates about how we ought to govern ourselves and how we ought to live since our countries were founded. What's changed is the intolerance for other people's opinions. So the agreement was always, we may disagree with one another, but we each have a right to say our piece, to explain what we think, and to have our own opinions. And within the last several years in the United States, a school of thought has become predominant among people in power, which is to say government officials and the media and business leaders as well, that only one side is allowed to speak in public and the other side had better be quiet or else they will be punished. So free speech is the foundation of a free society. That's why in our country, in our founding documents, it's the first freedom guaranteed by the government, freedom of speech.
How do we fight back? And what's the take on social media, particularly out of the US? I mean, how much is this a root cause of these issues we're facing?
Well, I mean, the key misperception that people have about social media is that they reflect the public sentiments. And of course, they are completely controlled by three companies. And the software that runs them, the so-called algorithms, determine what you see. And so it's very easy to manipulate public opinion if public opinion is derived from Facebook, Google, and Twitter, which in this country it is. Newspapers, and I hate to say television networks, also are declining in influence, and social media really determine what people see and therefore what they think. And those platforms are controlled by three companies. So you have centralized control over people's opinions. And if people are suddenly hating each other, well, that suggests the people turning the dials at those companies want people to hate each other. And then you have to ask, well, why would that be?